Hi, everybody. This is Coach Coons along with Coach Porter, and we are here tonight rounding the bases podcast. And on this fall November 7th day, again in the South, we were 80 degrees again today. It's a big change from upstate New York where I used to be.
Yeah.
But, Coach, I don't know
Still
how.
beautiful here. Still beautiful here in the 60s.
There
Was
you
80
go.
here the other day. So great baseball weather, actually. Perfect
Yeah,
baseball weather. Yeah.
exactly. There's still been a lot of tournaments down this way. Um, as far as here at the rec center and like that, where they have 7 or 8 artificial turf fields. But I thought tonight what we would talk about is some of the information we can help you with as far as making you aware of metrics and things like that. Uh, working with kids. What does it take to get to Division 1, Division 2, Division 3? What are coaches looking for in athletes, softball and baseball? Um, or what are goals or parameters that you need to try to get up to even be considered for that? And so, why don't you start out, Coach? Just your experience with scouting and everything, parameters, and what's the difference between Division 1, Division 2. Let's just take a third baseman for a second. What do they got to do? What's the difference? Like infield velocity speeds. What are the home runs? Because obviously third base, first base are power
Yep.
positions. Uh, on base percentages, slugging percentages that they're
Right.
all looking at for high school. So go ahead, give us the baseball end of it.
Gives the baseball end of it. So, I'm a recruiter that looks at it at a lot of different angles, right? So, and this is kind of where our experience comes in. I'm a recruiter you know, that sees a lot of different things. So, first of all, you can have the best exit velocity in the entire world. You could have raw power, meaning how far you can hit the baseball. But if the swing doesn't translate into a game swing, if the approach doesn't translate into a game approach, then you're not going to be successful. So, obviously, the higher you go, the higher the metric, the exit velo for the bat speed, right? I mean, I think that's, um, we're talking exit velos off of wooden bats in the World Series,
Right,
well over 100 miles an hour, right? So obviously, we're looking, at the highest levels of college baseball, mid 90s exit velo, approaching 100, obviously at the minimum,
right,
okay,
right,
at the minimum, right? But once again, the swing's got to translate, right? The swing's got to translate. And if you're a corner infielder, at most places you got to hit. Now, are there places where you have a fifth infielder that's really good, and we can put that person at first base to get him in a lineup? Sure. Traditionally, is that what a lot of teams are looking for? Probably not, but you're going to do what you got to do to get the best nine guys on the field.
right,
Okay? You're going to do what you got to do to get the best nine guys on the field. I personally, obviously, we're looking for somebody that can throw the baseball across the diamond, 85 plus, approaching 90 or even more. You got to think with the way that kids are being developed today, there's not a lot of difference between a pro guy and an elite division 1 guy in a lot of cases. Obviously, look at Paul Skeens, right? A year ago, the guy's pitching, right? At an
Going
elite
over
level of
90.
college baseball, and
Yeah,
now look what he's doing in the major leagues. So there's not, I mean, no, those guys that isn't the case for every single person. Obviously, in college baseball, or every single guy at LSU, there's guys at LSU that don't get drafted. I mean, That's how competitive this game is. Um, I think everybody's gonna. I think if the hit tool is as a coach, if the hit tool is high, right, we can get away with not playing as good a defense. If the hit tool is high, obviously there's positions where defensively, defense is your number one priority, right? In a catcher, I'm looking for a guy that obviously is a sub two, gets the ball, has a very quick release, gets the ball in the tag zone. Now, look, I'm not talking about catching the ball close to home plate in a showcase and throwing it to an infielder who's not straddling the bag in a
Right.
showcase. Obviously, in a game, your infielder may be in front of the bag, anchored down with that left foot. I get it, but in a showcase, we're trying to, create, the closest to a game situation as we can, which is hard. Which is hard.
Right.
Okay. So getting that ball into the tag zone, sub two pop time, consistency in the pop time. When you have consistency in the pop time, that takes into a lot of count the runner, the pitcher, the swing. The game changes when the guy's in the box. Obviously, um, for me, being a defender is your number one priority as a catcher. And that's old school. I know things change, all that good stuff, but for me, that guy's got to be a defender. I think your shortstop has to be a defender.
Well, see, and that's the other thing too. A lot of metrics in baseball and softball are geared toward the offensive side,
Yeah,
except for your throw velocity.
right,
You know, how's the range? How's the glove? How quick do they balance again? How do the middle infielders turn it at second base? Those are things the intangibles.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
and it's just like you're saying. You can go on our website, aheadandacountrecruiting.com, and we'll give you the metrics, the parameters that are there. How fast should you run a 60-yard dash as a middle infielder in Division One? Well, you're probably between 6.5 and 6.8, all the way down to a JUCO player who's 7.1 or lower. So it varies. All those figures. Um, but like you're saying, it's the intangibles that are really the key here.
yeah. You can look. I've seen guys with light tower power in batting practice at a showcase, and the swing doesn't translate to a game. So there's a lot of different things. However, those guys with those exit velos that are very high, obviously, we'll just say 90 plus. Obviously, or that's going to be 95 plus, approaching 100. But it's got you have to be able to do it in a game, right? You
That's
have to be able to do it in a game. It's got to translate into a game
right.
because you know it's almost like this in high school. If your coach needs pitchers, what's he going to do? He's going to go put the best arms on the mound and say,
Correct.
"Can you get it across the plate?" Right? So if you have a plus plus arm and you can't catch it and you can't hit it, you may get on the mound too.
That's
You
right.
know,
And I see a
you know.
lot of players do that.
And how about this? The model of recruiting a lot of shortstops. Okay, a lot of teams will recruit shortstops because of the athleticism. Take a look at this, like a team like the Cincinnati Reds. They were stocked with shortstops. And what are they doing? They're moving guys around. Why? They're great athletes. Shortstops are great athletes.
Well, for
Let's
example, Mookie Betts is coming back into the infield
come
next
back
year,
to the infield. Yeah,
and he was just on a World Series team that won the championship as a right fielder.
as a right fielder, he'll do whatever he's
Right.
got to do.
He's
There's another
athletic.
intangible.
There you go. Athleticism, and that's the
Yeah,
other intangible.
yeah, and yeah. So all those metrics, though. But let's face it, the metrics get your foot in the door. They're going to
Right.
get your foot in the door, right? Having an exit velo of 95 and being able to throw the baseball at 87 across the infield, you're gonna you're gonna raise some eyebrows.
Well,
Okay.
and let's face it, not every coach is going to see every kid they want to see. So what can we do for you, or what can that kid do to get that coach to say, "Hey, I'm one of these guys you ought to look at." It's these metrics right here
Yeah.
that's going to open their eyes.
And and you don't have to have all the metrics either, right? For
Right.
example, if I go to if what are the what's usually the first thing they do at a showcase? Run, run the 60.
60-yard
Bolster
dash.
tryout, right? You run a 60. I went to a showcase one time when I was still coaching in college, and a kid ran like a 6'4", and I starred that thing. It was like a 6'4", 6'5", and I starred that thing. And in my mind, I'm like,
That's upper level Division One
yeah,
kid.
I'm like, I kind of care if he can throw and hit and catch,
Right.
but as a Division II coach, I'm like, I'll figure out something to do with that speed.
That's right. That's right.
So then he goes to the next phase, and I'm like, it's not pretty, but he can throw it a little bit. It's not
Correct.
great, but you know what? Here's what goes through a coach's mind. If I can get him to use his feet a little bit and attack the baseball he was an outfielder, right? And kind of play through the ball, so to speak, stay behind the ball and get your feet underneath you and all that stuff. Well, an 80-mile-per-hour arm now changes a little bit. Okay, 80 miles changes it. If he gets rid of it, if he can get to the baseball and he can get rid of it, 80 changes. Okay, then he
Right.
goes and hits just okay. But if he puts the ball in play and he has a decent first step, which he should, he has a shot every single time.
Right.
So that metric right there. Or you go to a showcase and a guy is just dropping tanks, right? And his exit velo's up there. It's in the 90s, all that stuff. And he can't do anything else, but he can hit and he has a good approach and he can prove he can hit a fastball. Okay? He can, prove he can hit a fastball at a high level. Well, guess what? We're going to figure it out. That's why we have a DH,
Exactly.
right? I
See,
mean,
and the thing is, we have these numbers, and that's what they are. They're numbers, but we have them for you. The other end of the spectrum, uh, baseball, 60-yard dash, on base percent. You can fill it up with numbers. Softball, a lot of similar things. They want to know how fast you can go to first base. Now it's not a 60-yard dash anymore. It's home to first. Can you get there? Division One's going to want you to get there in 2.8, 2.9 seconds. Arm strength's a lot different because obviously a field is smaller. 60 to 63 miles an hour for softball. Exit velocity, where we're talking 90s here for baseball, you're talking 65, 68 to 70 for a Division One kid. Uh, pop time, for baseball, good pop time is what, 1-2, 1-3. Stop.
the second base,
Yeah,
1-8, 1-8 to good. Anything under 2, right?
right. And then softball is very similar there because you're taking your ratio down. So good pop time for a Division One softball player is 1.8.
Yeah.
Or better. They're looking because you got to be quicker with it. So I mean, we have all this on our website. That's what we're here to do, is help you with the initial steps, and then we'll come in with the schools and the searches and build you up and get that coach to come see you where they might not have been able to before.
Yeah,
Because let's face it,
absolutely.
again, what did we say? 7%.
7%.
7% of hundreds of thousands student athletes in baseball and or softball are going to play in college.
And here's the other part about that. Putting on our coach's hat allows us to describe you to another coach and tell you look inside that crystal ball, so to speak, and what you can become or where you're at, and that type of stuff. So, obviously that's an important piece.
And I think the other part of that too is coaches out there know that we're serious about our athletes that we represent. And it's not just to sell them to a school and once they're there, hey, good luck to you. You're whatever happens, happens. They know what they're getting when they talk to us as well. And I think that's a plus for our organization anyway, because respect is the wrong word, but it's similar to that. Our judgment is valued out there.
Yes.
And I think that, we've been doing this. What did we figure the other day? We've been doing this combined 50 years.
Easily.
You know,
Combined 50 years. 20,
you,
I coached college baseball for 20 years. Before this, and so add them together, and
you'd never
uh,
know we were both 95 years old, would you?
that's right. You never know. We were both 95.
Yeah, exactly. But we're here to help you with this stuff. I mean, this is just a tidbit tonight. Uh, we've got some great letters from you. We've had some questionnaires filled in. Go do that questionnaire. We'll get
It's
back to
free.
you. We'll do that. We'll do the evaluation. Coach Porter got a pretty good baseball guy, and I got a pretty good softball player. Uh, the
Just
other day,
recently.
and we're getting people every day to fill that out, and it's no obligation at all. And we get done with our podcast. Guess what we're doing tonight? We're working on our clients, and that's what we do. We are here to work for you. Um, we give you our numbers. You get us 24/7, and except probably Christmas or Thanksgiving might be a problem with everybody else that's in the house, but I would still
Yep.
answer my phone. Uh, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help you, and we'll give you these numbers so you can have a parameter. But again, just remember, they're just numbers. It's like an invite to a coach. What can you send them? Because let's face it, most of your calls are going to be cold calls to a school you want to try to get to. What can you send them to get you noticed originally? If you're doing it on your own, this might help you. If you're doing it with us, your name will get in there because we will push it through. And but again, there's so many intangibles. Coach talked about that. Uh, I like the idea of having metrics. I think it's good. It gives announcers things to talk about. But are you a competitor? Can you play the game? Do you come with intangibles? I'll take the fastest guy in the world, but what if they don't get on base?
Yep.
You'd never see that. So what are they going to be, a great defender? What if they can get to every ball in the outfield but can't catch it? There's a lot of intangibles there that you need to get that coach to see you, because that may erase something where you're a little lower in another area.
Were your eyes for another coach, right? And we that's where we can help you. And a lot of this is individualized, and we work together on this stuff. So
Oh
listen.
yeah, it's not a canned thing. You're going to get a program, and Jimmy or Susie down the street who's baseball or softball, there's a program set for her too, because no two people are, skill levels are always going to be different one way or the other. We'll tell you how to work to get better. We'll give you things to work on to get better. Those, all the little things. And like I say, we're in this program for the long haul. We're in this program to help you.
Fill out a questionnaire, do a free consultation with us, and free consultation, and you won't be disappointed.
Remember, aheadinaccountrecruiting.com. Go right across the menu at the top. You'll see questionnaire. Click on it, fill it in. No obligation whatsoever. And we'll get back with you and evaluate you and go from there and get you on your way to playing at the next level. Until next week, we will have a different topic to talk about. If you have a topic in the meantime that you'd like to talk about, go to our website, contact us, send us your question. It'll email right to us. And again, that's aheadaccountrecruiting.com. We look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you next week.